Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day today. A couple of weeks ago, I got to interview Jonathan Miller from Waypoint Church in Fort Collins, Colorado. Their launch date was supposed to be this past Sunday on Easter, but because of the virus, of course, they weren't able to do that. They had to launch online only because they had already bought billboards and different things. So this is a tough time for some of our missionaries. They're starting churches, but they can't gather. And also they can't travel to raise support. So anyway, just wanted to bring you an interview with him, and hopefully this will encourage you to continue to support missions and to get behind our missionaries in any way that we might can. Hey church family, just wanted to do something a little different for you today. I've had the opportunity today to be here with Jonathan Miller, one of our missionaries that we support, and he is in Colorado, in Fort Collins, Colorado. He and Rachel are there. They've been there since January, and I know most of you know Rachel and Jonathan. Rachel grew up here as a part of our church, and so there's no stranger to you. But Jonathan, just in case somebody doesn't know you who watches this, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jonathan Miller, and my wife, Rachel Miller, formerly Rachel Stevens, and I moved out here in January, and we have come out to Fort Collins, Colorado, to help my dad, Terry Miller, in the church here in Waypoint Church.
So more recently, you guys have decided to relaunch the church, and you renamed it, and you already mentioned that the name is Waypoint Church, and you've been doing some renovations. Is that right? To the
That's
building.
Right.
Been working hard. I know you were planning to relaunch on Resurrection Day, and that was really a cool idea. But my question is that going to happen?
Well, so far we are still under a no-go from the government and from our state as well. So unless something drastic happens, we will be launching online, just like everybody else having online services. Probably what we'll do is have our launch online, because we've got a billboard up and everything, and we'll probably have an online launch now, and then plan a in-person launch for the fall, so we can push for that all summer.
Well, that's it's really cool that you can do online stuff, but it's challenging at the same time because you're wanting to start a gathering and you can't gather. So that's kind of crazy. Weird times that we're living in. So during this virus, everybody's had to adjust the way they do things. Have you go back to before the virus, when you could do outreach opportunities? I think you mentioned some cool things you did about at a restaurant. You bought some people's lunch, and tell us a little bit about some of those things.
Yeah, we had one interest gathering at a Golden Corral, kind of imitating what Chad Kivett did there in Gatlinburg. And it didn't really turn out exactly like his did. We didn't have a lot of people commit, but we had a lot of good contacts, and especially the staff. There were 12 people working there, and they were extremely impressed by what we were doing, and we gave them some gifts as well.
Well, that's a cool idea. What are some things that you've had to change? Of course, you hadn't started services, so what are some things you've done different since the virus has broken out and it's kind of limited you?
Oh, well, we've kind of reshifted our focus a little bit, because we were planning another interest gathering for this past Saturday, I believe. So we obviously canceled that because of the virus influence, and so we weren't able to do that. And we were working really, really hard on this building and getting a lot of stuff, things built, things fixed, stuff painted, and we were just really going hard every week for several weeks, and just working all day long, 13 hours a day for at least week and a half or 2 weeks, I know I put in some 13-hour days. And so we slowed down on that since it's pretty apparent that we weren't going to be able to meet in person. And we just had to shift towards videos, and because we had to get stuff set up for that.
Tell you what, we've had some people from Mount Olive who have been involved at Fort Collins for years now. I know I'll probably leave somebody out, so I'm going to try, though. I know that Brother Milton Rudy, Brother Danny Green, Brother Louis Umber, I think, and Brother Ashley Culp and Brother Mike back in there, and there's probably more who went on a couple of different missions trips out there. So I wonder if I could get you to go outside and show us the front of your church and just a real quick tour, not every room in the church, but maybe the highlights of what you guys have been able to renovate.
Okay. All right, I'll walk outside here. This right there was the original sanctuary was in that little part right there, and then there's classrooms and stuff. Now this is just the fellowship hall here. There's a kitchen back there in the classrooms, and this here is Big Brother. The next phase, this is now the sanctuary, and is built on here. And get you a little side view of it here. It is a beautiful building. One cool thing here that kind of seemed like the Lord foresaw what this would be named. We named it Waypoint, and our symbol is a waypoint, kind of like on a map, like a point that you set a secondary destination on the way to where you're headed. And so that's why Dad came up with the name Waypoint, is because we wanted this to be a place where people could stop on their way to glory, where they could stop and be charged and encounter the gospel. I'm going to turn this around and show you a welcome table that Brandon, my brother, and I built. We just awesome. Got a little industrious one day.
Yeah.
And built this. And these are the letters that are going to go on the front of it. It's going to say welcome, not
mobile.
So still a work in progress right there.
All right, show us the sanctuary there.
Here's the stage. We actually removed the privacy wall for the choir.
Yeah.
And so when we are able to have a choir again, we probably will not have chairs up there, so there won't be a need for that. They'll have to stand up, and because Lord willing, this place will be packed, and we won't have room for the people to sit in the choir anyway. So Brandon actually built this cross a couple weeks ago.
That's nice.
And working on that.
Yeah, it looks good.
The ceiling was all the large fluorescent lighting, like in a shop or a fellowship hall or something.
Yeah.
And they were all rectangles, and so they gave these weird patterns up there, and they weren't lined up. And so what we did was actually go and replace all of them with recessed lighting and put them back in line. Yeah. And we did the same thing up here as well.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, man, y'all, whenever things do kind of settle down and you're finally able to have your launch service, physical service, then you guys are way ahead with that nice building, and thankful for everything that has been done there in the past, and looking forward to the future with you guys. Close here. What can Mount Olive, they've been involved with, we've been involved there for a long time. What can we do to help you guys right now?
Oh, well, one, of course, the obvious one is you can pray for us. Prayer is our biggest thing right now, especially since we can't actually meet physically. We're leaning heavily on prayer and trying to encourage one another. Two, you can support the church mainly through supporting Dad and his account through Home Missions. and through supporting Rachel and I through our account and home missions. And those are our main two ways of support right now.
And I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. You're there with your dad. I think you did mention that, but your dad is the lead pastor there at Waypoint Church, and you guys moved out to help him out. And we miss y'all, and but we're glad you're where you need to be. And so if somebody wanted to give to your account or your dad's account, what would they need to do?
They would need to go on to Free Will Baptist North American Ministries, and then go to Church Planters, and then scroll down to our names. Go to Colorado, and under Colorado you see our names, and you can select either Terry and Tammy Miller or Jonathan and Rachel Miller, and then you can give that way, or you can send a check directly to Home Missions and earmark it for the Terry Miller or Jonathan Miller account.
Okay. All right. Well, that's simple enough. If somebody wanted to contact you, wanted to reach out to you, do you have an email address or Facebook account or something you'd want them to look at?
I do. We have a Facebook page, Millers in the Mountains.
Okay.
That should be pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
I also have a church email at jonathan@waypointchurch.org.
All right. Well, thank you, John, for taking the time to talk to us today. And any last closing thoughts you want to give everybody?
I just want to thank y'all for your support and for your prayers, and I'm looking forward to what the Lord does here and letting y'all know as you are a part of it.
Sounds good. Well, we'll look forward to hearing from you in the future.
All right.